Turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and turkey lurkey dap. I eat.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ram Nation, and welcome to Ram Report, Boise State preview. The game against Boise State is Friday after Thanksgiving, 1:30 at Canvas Stadium. So after spending an unfortunate amount of time with your family, on Thursday you'll have to spend an unfortunate amount of time with the CSU football team on Friday. Especially since Boise State's coming into town rolling right now, coming off a 56-21 win over Utah State to wrap up the Mountain Division and clinch their way into the Mountain West Championship game against Hawaii. CSU coming off that disappointing loss to Wyoming 17-7 up in Laramie. They are 4-7, and they are officially eliminated from bowl contention, so this will be their last game of the season. Now, Bobo has said that they're treating this week as a bowl game, and it's a good strategy by Bobo, because if you can't make a bowl, might as well just treat the last game as a bowl, and that way you'll go to a bowl game every year, and you can put that on your resume. So, interesting little tidbit there. Boise State is a 12.5 point favorite. And like I said, they're rolling right now. It's a scary team, ranked 20th in the country, and it's going to be a tough matchup for CSU. Boise State comes into the game with their freshman sensation, 4-star recruit, future of the program, quarterback Hank Bachmeier, questionable. He missed the last 2 games. In his place, the senior quarterback, JUCO transfer Jalen Henderson, has taken his place, and he's done pretty well. He's more of a dual threat quarterback. Last week against Utah State, 187 yards passing, 3 TDs. And he also added 45 yards rushing. So he's serviceable quarterback, more of a dual threat guy, and that's probably not going to go well for CSU, seeing how they can't really stop anyone on the ground. So, speaking of Boise State's rushing game, it's led by another freshman. So, between Bachmeier and this freshman, George Holane, freshman running back, Boise State's set for a while, on offense, in the offensive backfield, and that's a scary thought. Especially after coming off such a good year this year, Boise State, they really show no signs of slowing down. George Holane coming off a huge game against Utah State, ran the ball 16 times for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the offensive line is really, really gelling up there in Boise, and they have the 43 ranked rush offense in the country against against CSU's 113th ranked defense. That's going to be the matchup to watch. Another week of a team that's going to probably try to just run it down CSU's throat. Although CSU's defense did good last week against Wyoming's really, really good rushing offense. Wyoming's more one-dimensional than Boise State, so CSU was able to focus on that running game, and we'll see if they can kind of slow down Boise's rushing game, especially with the dual threat quarterback. That I foresee that causing CSU some issues. Other than that, like I said, tough game for CSU. Last game of the season. You got to wonder, does Boise State, after wrapping up the Mountain Division in the Mountain West Conference last week, do they have much to play for? Are they going to be motivated? Are they going to be looking ahead to playing Hawaii in the Mountain West Conference Championship game? That might play out into CSU's advantage. We'll see if they're really motivated. The one motivation that they're talking about this week up in Boise is having an undefeated Mountain West record. Boise State's only loss came to BYU. The battle of the truckers versus the Mormons. BYU actually won that game. Shockingly, other than that, Boise State has been undefeated this year, 10-1, ranked 20, and there seems to me like they're really gelling right now, coming off that huge road victory over Utah State. This being the last game for CSU this season, the question turns to: did Bobo do enough this year to save his job? Does this game affect his job security? Two Mountain West coaches have been let go already. New Mexico fired Bob Davie. UNLV fired Tony Sanchez. Will CSU fire Bobo after this year? I know there's still a big buyout. Maybe after that contract extension he signed 2 years ago, it would save CSU a lot of money if they brought him back for one more year. These last 3 losses, and I mean, if CSU loses to Boise State, 3 losses in a row to end the season, the horrific record against rivals. Will Joe Parker, CSU's athletic director, have to pull the trigger and finally let Bobo go? Will a big win versus Boise State secure Bobo going into next season with some momentum, winning their quote-unquote bowl game? Maybe they should get a trophy, make a trophy up or something. Although if they had a trophy, Bobo never wins trophy games, so that's a bad idea. Scratch that. As far as the score prediction goes, I see Boise State winning this game 45-31, high-scoring affair. I see CSU scoring some points. Boise State has a 34th ranked defense, but their pass defense is ranked 67th in the country. CSU has a nice passing game with the receivers. Again, Warren Jackson, Dante Wright, Trey McBride. I'm sorry. I'll see them playing from behind most of the game and throwing the ball all over the field. Will this be Warren Jackson's last game as a Ram? Will he go out into the draft? I mean, I would say yes, following in the footsteps of Gallup, Preston Williams, Hollywood Higgins, leaving early, going to the draft. Seems to be working out for them. Will I come back to a CSU team, especially if there's thought of a coaching change? I mean, obviously, CSU would love to have Warren Jackson back. I mean, he's just electric against Mountain West cornerbacks. No one can really stop him. Even as down games, he's putting up 80, 90 yards, a couple touchdowns. I mean, he's an electric player, but I see him having a big game, mostly because CSU's playing from behind most of the game. I see Boise State being able to rush it all over the field, hit some big pass plays. Their quarterback, he could probably run for 50, 60 yards, just backbreaking third down conversions, and the game will pretty much end like that. My prediction, 45-31, and going into the offseason, we'll look towards next year. So anyway, with that being said, that's all I got. So as always, go Rams.